justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, agenda review. There was a gentleman that wanted to speak tonight. I don't see him here in the audience yet. If he does show up, I'd like to add something to the agenda as the meeting progresses. But right now, do you have anything else?
I have a couple of things to add. I wanted to add, thank you. I wanted to add on the Alumni Association, item B, that should be an action item. And I also wanted to add a brief discussion about the Amicus Brief that Governor Wentworth agreed to sign on to. And also a very brief piece of information about the 603 Bright Futures Survey.
Switches back and forth, that's fine. Okay, if there's nothing else to add, the next item on the agenda would be acceptance of the minutes. The first is the school board meeting of May 9th.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Tim, seconded by Wendy. Okay, all those in favor, Brody?
Sorry.
You can just yell out.
Oh, well, I just want, because people will listen to the recording so they can hear it. Aye. Aye.
Yes, all right, Stephanie?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Wendy?
Aye.
Dr. Jim?
Yes.
Jim Pittman?
Yes.
Charlene?
Aye.
Dana?
Yes.
And chair votes aye as well. Okay, the second item to approve is a manifest for tonight. The manifest that are being signed, accounts payable is $1,317,834.53. The payroll manifests are $1,838,761.43 for a total of $3,156,595.96. And as I stated before, anybody that would like to view the manifests, please contact the SAU office. They will be available for review at the SAU office. The totals will be, as always, in the minutes of the school board meeting anyway. So I'd accept a motion to accept those.
Jack,
Yes.
point of order, did we approve the minutes of our regular board meeting? I just think we did the joint board section, but did we had our regular board meeting afterwards? Or did we approve the minutes as a block?
I believe it was intended to, the joint board / school board meeting as a block.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the manifest.
Okay, moved by Tim,
Second.
seconded by Wendy. Okay, all those in favor, Brody?
Aye.
Tim?
Yes.
Wendy?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Dr. Jim?
Yes.
Jim Pittman?
Yes.
Charlene?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
And chair votes aye as well. Okay, thank you. Okay, public input, 15 minutes for public input, 5 minutes per person if possible. I don't see a mic out there, so if somebody would like to speak, they can come down and use my mic.
Is this the time, if we haven't put on the agenda? I'm not sure, I've never done this before.
Are you the priors?
Yes.
You're on the agenda.
Okay.
So you don't have to speak in non-public if you don't
Thank you.
want. No problem. Okay, any non-public? Okay, seeing none, we'll move right on with the agenda. Student representative report, Fallon.
On the bottom file, there's a button, and it'll light up red. You got it.
It's working?
Yeah.
The last month, the LRTC has been quite busy. They just came back from the annual state competition. DECA came back with 6 awards, HOSA with 9, Precision Manufacturing with 8, and the FFA with 10. Marketing also took 12 students to nationals to compete in the month of May. HOSA and Precision are traveling the week of June 20th to compete in nationals. All of the level 2 construction trade students
Yeah, we'll just do it, no problem.
All of the level 2 construction trade students received their OSHA 10 certifications. The Tech Center also hosted tours for Crescent Lake, Effingham, Tuftonboro, Ossipee, New Durham, and Middleton for 6th grade elementary school students. On May 17th, the Tech Center held their first ever summer job fair to help students and local community businesses connect. This event got students working on their resumes, building confidence with filling out job applications, and interviewing with potential employers. Lastly, from the Running Start stats for 2022, the Tech Center and high school offered 9 Running Start courses this school year. 72 classes were taken for credit. 56 students participated in the program for a grand total of 254 college credits earned by LRTC and Kingswood Regional High School students. The courses range from Spanish and accounting to statistics, manufacturing, business, medical terminology, and nurse assisting. This list of course offerings is expected to expand by at least 3 in the next year in science, math, and business. Student Council planned prom last May 9th, with our advisors, Mrs. Rogers and Mrs. Frank. It took place on the Mount Washington, and Student Council also planned Field Day, which took place on May 26th, located on Alumni Field. There were bouncy houses, cornhole, a live band, and much more. This past month, NHS participated in the READ program for the first time in 2 years. Members traveled to almost all of the towns in the district with the exception of Middleton. All the schools, members read 3 children's books. They acted out the story as it was being read, and then headed back to the classroom to continue a craft. All grade level depended on which school as well. A car wash was planned after the READ program to raise money for the usage of the buses to and from the schools. NHS also participated in envelope stuffing. All sports teams except softball are continuing in the playoffs. They are headed to Plymouth State this Wednesday to play Co-Brown in the semifinals. The Salt Club will also be hosting the annual Brawley-Ball game this Thursday in the high school gym. Brawley-Ball is an event where the junior and senior boys match up and play a game of volleyball against each other. Each team is coached by the junior and senior volleyball girls. The track and field program advanced to the New England Championship as well. Those who are competing will be Ethan Arnold, Marcella Donito, Rowan Donovan, Lauren McPhee, and Kylie Raposa. So far this June, there has been Academic Awards Night, where students were recognized for their dedication in the classroom. Following closely behind, there was Scholarship Night, with multiple seniors being awarded scholarships for their hard work and community service. On Friday, June 3rd, the food staff, teachers, and other adults in the high school put together a senior banquet and allowed for a great night of celebrating the class of 2022. This past Sunday, seniors again were invited to participate in Baccalaureate that took place at the Art Center. Mrs. Kelleher was the chosen guest speaker and did a great job along with Mr. Keane, who led the class blessing. Due to the softball team going to the semifinals Wednesday, Senior Athletic Awards Night will be held this Sunday at 1 p.m. in the Art Center. This is the last week for graduating seniors. Finals have already started and all seniors will be done by Wednesday. Graduation practice will take place on Thursday and Friday at 11. Graduation is at 6 p.m. this Friday at Alumni Field, with the rain date being Saturday morning at 10.
Thank you, Fallon. And Fallon, on behalf of the board, we want to thank you for your participation this year.
Thank you.
And we'll just for you, say thank you and your voice of the church. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, Kathy, you're up.
So the first item under the superintendent's report is the introduction of a new website, and we have Karen Libby and Amy Rebo here to introduce the website to us, and I'm so appreciative of all the work that they did to get this up and running. We for many years used a website that was free, like we do. You know, we try to save money in the school district. But that website no longer was available to support what we needed, so it was time to make the transition. And I think this website is going to serve us really well. These two ladies have just done a phenomenal job, so they're going to show you what they've done.
Thank you. I don't know what's best for you all. I mean, now you're going to crane your necks to my
Yeah, we could, some of us could move around. You know, before we start this, I think I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce Kathy Lagasse. Is that the way you pronounce it? Lagasse, the administrative assistant at the SAU office. She's taking Linda's place, and we're glad to have you aboard. Thank you.
So thank you for your interest. I'll wait till we get set up.
Am I projecting?
Yeah.
You got it.
For several years, we were using a program called Wheatley. The school librarians and a few other brave souls helped us create websites for each school. Those websites we did the best we could. We didn't know a lot about what should go into websites. We weren't familiar with being ADA compliant, American Disabilities Act. We did as well as we could, trying to make sure that we had current information. Toward the beginning of January, Amy and I were in correspondence with some companies that would come in and preview your site and tell you what was wrong with it. And after we had a few of those free tell us what's wrong with it, we realized it was time to just do it. At the same time, Kathy, I think, had contact with someone. And so the worlds just collided, and we were fortunate enough that we were able to do tons of research and choose this company called Final Site, which puts together templates, but they're complicated templates based on themes. And the fact that these were based on themes was attractive to us because although we have schools that have their own identity, we wanted common searching and common navigation, and we were able to do that. Amy's showing you the Governor Wentworth page. Amy, do you want to talk a little bit about what?
Sure. So in the interest of being brief, we're just going to kind of hit some highlights, and then they're live, they're public now, you can take a look at them on your own. But all district sites have the same common header here where you can get back to the district page. You can look at all the school pages. There's some staff pull downs here. Calendars, each school has its own calendar that is layered with the district calendar, so all of the typical days off, vacation days, half days, in-service days, as well as school-specific events can be put onto those. We learned that 4 to 7 pull-down menus is really what is considered optimal, no more than that. So we were able to get at the Governor Wentworth one down to 5. These are district facts and information. I'll show you quickly your. There was a lovely picture of you, maybe the February or March meeting of the board. I think that's in New Durham. That mural's down in New Durham. So there are several pages dedicated to the school board. These are the sub-pages here. All of your minutes, meetings, and agendas, things like that are all here. With these are called accordions with pull downs. So all the information is accessible there. We received some advice after we went live, given how many openings we have in the district, about moving the employment link more front and center. That was good advice, and so we did that. You'll see that's there. As well as in the footer, a district directory, which has both right now, the standard directory from that comes out each year, as well as a searchable directory, which is new. So if you click on professional staff members information, you get some contact information and things like that there. But let me.
We use all the time. We look at technology buttons. Those are called call to action buttons.
Yeah. They are some of our, based on our analytics, they are some of our most used links. People are looking up, what time is the bus going to be here, what's lunch, how do I fix this, that kind of thing. So we put those kind of front and center as well as these rotating images from across the district. One of my favorite things is the social media from across the district. All of the individual schools now have social media feeds. They automatically populate here, so I know there was a middle school dance last Friday, you could see that there. As new things come in, they push old things off, but you can scroll back through them. But it's just a nice, lively snapshot of some of the happy, eventful things happening across the district. These are called posts. They are pop-up. They can get more information on those there. Again, those will be rotated through. One of our goals is to keep the information a lot more dynamic and less static than our old websites had. Karen talked a little bit about accessibility. We had to do things to become compliant, like having alt text behind every image, contrasting colors enough that they would be easily discernible to people who are have vision impairment, closed captioning of all videos, things like that. So there is also contact information on every page saying if you are having trouble accessing anything on this, please contact this email that would come to Karen and myself so that we can make sure that we do stay compliant and no one is experiencing difficulty.
I think one of the goals was to move this page from just being an information source to sort of marketing or branding the community. So you'll see the pictures really define what Governor Wentworth, the district looks like, what our schools look like, and what our kids are doing.
I wanted to show you something really quickly. I've already logged into the high school page, but if you go to this the first time on your own and your computer sees that you have not been there before, you would be first met with what's called a page pop-up. And we put one on the high school page with all of the senior events because it's very timely, it's important. So it opens the document showing here's all of the things that have been happening in recent weeks, including this week, for all of the graduating seniors as they prepare for their big day on Friday. So I can, and then what I had done before was click don't show again, which is why it didn't automatically pop there. But it's one way that you can kind of have an alert kind of message right there on your screen. And then really quickly, each school was able to choose their own, well, not choose their own colors. Each school already had their own colors. So I'll show you Carpenter. Carpenter is green and black. But again, just really lively, bright. Their social media feed right there. Some of their page pop-ups, their recent events that have happened there, field trips that they've taken to the Park Museum and things like that. So it was a big project. It's been a lot of fun. Our goal is to have good communication, be open, be accessible, promote the district, and we still are welcoming feedback. If people have feedback, suggestions, comments.
Are all the like the Google Classrooms accessible through the school, like for all the teachers, just as they were before as well?
No.
Well, it depends on the school. In some schools, there are links to those Google Classrooms, and I think that's probably partly dependent on the time of year. We just went live, and kids already were in there. But that might be something that for September that we could put there as new classes are formed and enrolled. That's a good idea.
And different schools have different methods of giving their students family information. Like in the high school, we use Canvas as much. And so, yeah.
I'm just wondering, how fast can you guys edit these pages, just so that, because obviously there might be changes, like Seth, you just brought up that might need to be done on the fly. Can you guys be fairly
Like within 5 minutes, yeah.
That's great to hear.
Yeah, it goes live right away.
And that was, we talked to different companies thinking, oh, let's get rid of this and let somebody else do it. But then you would have been waiting a week to get that spelling error fixed or that date change. So we thought it would just be better if we took over.
Each school continues to have their own webmaster. Karen and I kind of built the frames here. Another kind of overarching thing is that every school has the same theme. So every school has the same elements on the landing page. All the schools have these same 4 menus here, so that families with children in different schools or across different grade levels would be able to find. They know where they're going to find their media center. They know where they're going to find their staff handbook, what pull down it's going to be under. So we're trying to have some more commonality across the sites to make them easily navigable for families.
Any questions?
Thank you for that.
That's great.
Will there be also like downloadable forms and things like that as well?
Yes.
So one of the things about being ADA accessible is trying to avoid PDFs.
Okay.
They are not, with these final site sites, they are adaptable to different screens. So when you look at it on your cell phone, the menus shrink and you get the little hamburger and the pull downs there, but you're not doing a lot of scrolling left or right. So we try to avoid downloadable forms as much as possible. We are able to run them through a piece of software which makes them accessible to a screen reader. But we did for some things, like if I had gone to the calendar page, you would see we have kind of the standard calendar with the events on it, but we did put on the right the calendars that the family might print out and stick on their fridge. That's the kind of thing someone might want to print out. So we did try to include those wherever possible.
The software does have a form app within it, so now where we might be using a Google form, go through several steps. We're also really careful, Public House has been guiding us as to what is best practice in terms of protecting the network. And we have all had, many of the teachers, we've had our Google site or our blog that come back, have feedback into the server. And that's just not something we want to do anymore. So we'll start using the forms provided by Final Site after we make sure everything that we've done so far is perfect. Then that's a new learning tool. And then those forms also have the ability of taking payment. So that's something that we wanted to do, like for our yearbooks, or some pictures.
I just have a quick question. Would you consider making membership levels so that maybe as a parent, we could sign in and see our own students in one area on the main page, so that way, because we have kids in different schools, sometimes it's hard to follow jump rope and things like that from different schools. As a parent, I would like to be able to sign in and see my students populate in my membership area, and so that way I can check in on their things, kind of without touching a bunch of pieces.
Yeah, we haven't tapped it yet, but we can look into that.
Yeah.
I think that's possible.
I just want to thank Karen and Amy again. This has been a project that's, I think, really important because it's really easy to forget all the wonderful things that are happening in our schools. This isn't something that we talk about probably as much as we should at school board meetings. And you can look on the website and click on any school and just see a whole number of fabulous things that are happening in our schools. So I think that's super, super important. And then the other thing that I think is also very important is how accessible it is. So when a family downloads something on their iPhone, they can see it in a format that's very readable. So I think probably more people are using iPhones to access information than they are computers these days, and so I think that's a pretty important function. But I know it was a lot of work, Karen and Amy, and I want to thank you very much for all your work on it. I appreciate it. Okay, and next up is the Alumni Association.
Yeah, Christy, you want to grab that mic there so we can all hear you?
You want me to hold it for you?
Good evening. My name is Christy Smith. I'm here to represent the Alumni Association. I'm going to let my cohorts introduce themselves, but I've been teaching here at Kingswood since 1993, and I've been part of the Alumni Association for the past 18 years. So we just kind of do our annual report just to let you know what's going on, and I'll let Deb and Chris introduce themselves.
Hello, so I'm Chris Nelson. I graduated Kingswood in 2018, and I've been teaching here. This is my second year, and I teach CAD classes, architectural drafting, and tech draw, 3D printing, fun stuff like that. And I'm glad to be a part of this. And I'm the fundraising chair, and I'd like to just introduce this golf tournament real quick. This is the golf tournament that we have in order to benefit the KRHS Scholarship Fund that we recently gave out three checks to at the recent scholarship night. This will be October 15th of this year, and the stuff will be on the Kingswood Alumni Facebook page, and you'll also see posters around downtown area. They'll be scattered about police station, town hall, all that type of stuff. And just like everybody to all sign up for that to benefit that. And yeah, so here we go. And I'll pass these out as well to everyone.
Good evening. My name is Deb Skelly, and I graduated in 1976. from Kingswood, whoops. And I've been teaching physical education in the district for a long time.
No, that's okay. So this is just kind of our annual report. We haven't been here the last couple years during COVID, so we're happy to be back here in person. We would first of all like to extend our best wishes to Kathy. We would like to thank you for all the support you've given us over the years and wish you the best in your retirement. And then we look forward to working with the new superintendent when she comes on. The Alumni Board would like to recognize our newest member, who's Mary Ellen Bridges, recently joined our board. She's a member of the class of 1982, and she's been teaching at Kingswood since 2011. She's been helping Chris with the flyers for the alumni golf tournament. She teaches communication technology, so she had her class work on a real-world application of designing a flyer. So this flyer is student designed for the golf tournament, along with Chris's expertise in figuring out how to do the QR codes on there and keep us up to date. So we're very glad that Mary Ellen and Chris have joined our team. Just to give you a brief history, the Alumni Association was formed 18 years ago. It was led by the first principal of Kingswood, who was Ed Roundy. And there was a very small core group of teachers who felt it was important to bring this committee, the community, to the school. And that was like Bob Coolidge and Phil DeSalle and Bruce Herman, Ray Lord. They were all part of that first thing. And Bob Coolidge had asked me, hey, come to this meeting. And I could never say no to Bob, and here I am. So the board continues to be run by a small group of alumni and staff, and we're excited to be back to business. So we've talked a little bit about the golf tournament, so I'm not going to go back into that other than to encourage you to sign up. We were not able to do any fundraising for the past 2 years, so our scholarships this year were a little less than we've done in the past, so we're hoping to kind of rebuild that back up. Chris and I did attend Senior Banquet Friday evening, where we awarded 3 scholarships. One was to an alum who's currently in college, class of 2019, Charlie Arenello received a scholarship. And then 2 members of the class of 2022, which was Amelia Gallimberti and Alexis Eldridge, were our recipients. So all the money from the golf tournament goes directly to our scholarship fund. So we're hoping to rebuild that. Just another little note, we do continue to keep, we have Jane Keniston serves as our secretary. She keeps us very organized and on task. And we have, she's got all our yearbooks. We have almost all the yearbooks. We're missing a couple years. People have sometimes donated past yearbooks to try and supplement the collection, and other people have donated memorabilia that we do keep stored here on campus in the alumni office. So that is also one of our tasks that we've been working on doing. So that's it, that's kind of our summary. Thank you again for your support, and if you know anybody who has any interest in wanting to add to the Alumni Association, tell us to come on over. We meet about once a month during the school year. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. This is also the time where we ask for a motion to approve the funding of $5,000 to support the association's activities here in the school buildings.
So moved.
It'd be moved by Brody.
Second.
Seconded by Tim. Okay, all those in favor, Brody?
Aye.
Tim?
Yes.
Wendy?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Dr. Jim?
Yes.
Jim Pittman?
Yes.
Charlene?
Aye.
Dana?
Yes.
And Chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much. Appreciate everything that you guys do. Thank you.
Yes. The next item is the Wood Estate. We have a couple of applications for money from the Wood Estate to serve our students. This is, the first one is the Costa Rica trip. And as you recall, when we were in New Durham, Kara Jacobs and Julie Gary did a presentation about Costa Rica and Quebec. And at that time, I had mentioned to them that the Wood Estate money was available to help supplement if the cost of the program was expensive for families. So they are, for Costa Rica, there's a request of $11,400 to offset the cost of the educational trip. And, you know, looking at the cost, I thought, yikes, is that the whole cost? But it's really not. There are 12 students that are going, and it's $2,600 for each student. The students are paying for, and their families, probably more their families, are paying for 2/3 of the cost, and the Wood Estate would supplement by 1/3. And then for Quebec, it's a very similar situation, that there are 17 students going. The total cost is, per student, is $1,100. The students or families would be paying $737, and the Wood Estate would be paying $383. I think that there's no doubt from the presentation that we saw that this has great educational benefit from our students, and it is very difficult for parents to afford the full boat. So I think this is a great use of of Wood Estate funds. We have been very careful about how we spend the money so that we have a the interest doesn't dip below a certain point, and sorry about that. And so the balance is quite a hefty balance, and I think we can well afford this for our students. It's $794,912.83. So.
If, like I noticed on one of the applications that there were, that there was some screening for financial need. And so it's my understanding there's a blanket amount given to everybody, but have all the students been screened for additional financial needs? Do you know, or I don't know if that's...
There's one family that is sending 2 students, so they're getting a little bit more, and then there is one other student that is getting a little bit more because of financial need.
Okay. Just want to make sure anybody who wants to go is not limited by...
Yes, that was the discussion that we had in New Durham, that we want to make sure that all kids have access, because these are such enriching trips that we want to make sure anyone who wants to go can go.
Okay. I make a motion to allow the use of the Wood Estate Expendable Trust Funds for the trips to Costa Rica and Quebec.
Moved by Stephanie, seconded by Jim Pittman. Any other questions on this? Okay, all those in favor? Brody?
Aye.
Tim?
Yes.
Wendy?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Dr. Jim?
Yes.
Jim Pittman?
Yes.
Charlene?
Aye.
Dana?
Yes.
And chair votes aye as well. Excellent, thank you.
Thank you. We have 2 parents here tonight that called the SAU and asked to be put on the agenda. And I believe that they have 2 things that they would like to discuss, and one is school security and the second is Apprentice. Is that correct? Okay, great. You're welcome to use this if it's helpful to you.
You guys want me, I can bring this up to you if you guys feel more comfortable just sitting there. Yeah, I'll bring it up to you. Okay. It'd be a little daunting to come all the way down, so I gotta.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We just want to say first, thank you so much for all the work you guys have done. We know that COVID was horrible for all of us, and I can't even imagine your side of it, trying to administrate all of that. So we just appreciate all of the hard work you guys have done over these last few years. We moved here almost 4 years ago now, and we intentionally moved to the Governor Wentworth Regional School District because of how passionate you guys are about your students and how much you love your students, and our experience at Ossipee Central School has been phenomenal. We have 2 special education students, and their program is second to none in our opinion. They've done so much for our children, and we're just super, super grateful. So tonight, the first thing we wanted to bring up was Prenda Learning Pods. I'm not sure if any of you even heard of that. I hadn't until just recently. So we're hoping to advocate for district learning pods through Prenda with funding from the New Hampshire Department of Education's Recovering Bright Futures program. They have a grant program that will cover the complete cost of that. So all it is grant writing, and I'm happy to assist with that, or actually we don't really know the next steps, but I figured to present it. As of a few weeks ago, there are currently 6 district learning pods in the state of New Hampshire, and we're requesting that one be established at Ossipee Central School so there are 2 children with learning disabilities, as well as many other that may benefit from a unique learning environment, can have the added support of a small classroom environment while still having access to special education services. So Prenda offers learning pods that are in the district. They also offer, it's more of a homeschool approach. It's the same program, but you're technically a homeschool student, so you do it at home, which isn't ideal for kids who need those extra services. So I took some quotes right from the Prenda website as well as the New Hampshire Department of Education's program, because they said it much more eloquently than I could ever do. So in New Hampshire, micro schools are called learning pods. They're made up of 5 to 10 students in grades spanning from K to 8 and are led by Prenda guides. Students will be enrolled in their school district while also being enrolled in Prenda. So learning takes place in a school building when possible, and learning programs in the district learning pods are aligned with the New Hampshire's academic standards and adapt to individual students. District learning pods students will also have access to many student services such as meals and special education. And the Department of Education is partnering with Prenda schools for a new and exciting grant opportunity to support your students and families who've experienced learning loss and who may have experienced significant stress and disruption as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Our family personally, it was a huge struggle. My son has dyslexia, my oldest son has dyslexia, and it's extremely difficult to do online learning. Reading from a computer and working with all those special education teachers, it was really a big hardship on our family to have to try and transition, which I'm sure it was for a lot of families. So the department offers grants to school districts to support the creation of district learning pods as an option for those students who might benefit from this unique supportive educational environment. And the Prenda learning experience prioritizes each student's unique needs as they progress in all their core subjects and more. The project-based, mastery-focused learning combined with the state-of-the-art online tools allow students to learn at their own pace. So a lot of the programs, the online programs that they use are things that the district used during COVID. So Zern and those types of online platforms are really wonderful tools. So the 4 portions of a Prenda school day are connect, conquer, collaborate, and create. Connect is an intentional time at the beginning of the day meant to foster a culture of connection, psychological safety, acceptance, and respect. Built around Prenda's core values and empowerment principles, they create a strong sense of community in our micro schools. And then during Conquer, children use cutting-edge, state standard-aligned online learning tools, and students dive into their core subjects. Every learner is different, so we help to create a unique plan for each student. We use low-stress diagnostic testing to locate learning gaps and get students working at the right level. The really great part about this is they also incorporate those IEPs and 504 plans that a lot of students have. During Collaborate mode, students engage in inquiry-based research, debates, Socratic discussions, experiments, learning, service learning, and problem-solving experiences that help them become people who can think deeply about the world around them and how they interact with others. Create mode is a time for exploration filled with project-based activities in STEM, history, research, writing, science, performance arts, and mindset. Students create videos, reports, computer programs, gardens, posters, essays, dance, routines, business storefronts, journals, paintings, dioramas, and things like that. It's really student-led. So the kids get space to explore what interests them, as well as really hone in on what their strengths are instead of focusing just on their weaknesses. We truly believe that this would benefit the learners at Ossipee Central School as well as other schools beyond just our children. The non-traditional atmosphere and expectations foster the development of autonomy and ownership of their work. The freedom of a looser structure would be beneficial for many students who struggle with the traditional learning model in most schools. By creating a district pod as opposed to a community pod, it allows children with learning disabilities access to the amazing special education services provided by the district. We think it would be a great option for a lot of students who struggle to stay in their seats. I know if anybody has boys, that's really hard to get kids to sit still for long periods of time during the school day. That's something we're struggling with our youngest now. And this allows them the space and the freedom to set goals and achieve things that they didn't think were possible. The other great thing about Prenda is they also advocate for students helping each other. So students tend to learn really well from each other, usually better from each other than from teachers, much to our frustration sometimes. It's a great program that allows them to learn those skills, ask each other for help, and then when they're stumped, they have access to a Prenda guide who has all the training and tools to be able to help them achieve their goals. So we would really appreciate the school looking into that, or even just telling us what we need to do so that we can take those steps. I'm happy to do all the research, so thank you.
Well, obviously, this is all new to us as well, so we'll certainly look through all of the material, do some research on it, and let you know what we find, and if we think it's going to be something that can fit into our programs or whatever. Certainly an interesting idea. I just don't know enough about it today, obviously, to make any decisions, but we'll certainly take it under advisement and do our research and see what we can do for you. Okay.
We appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask just one question?
Sure.
Where do you, so I have very limited understanding of this.
It's all new.
Where would the micro school be? Would it be in your home, or would it be?
So they have two different models. The micro school you can have they do community pods, which is more the homeschooling environment. So it would be in someone's home or a library or a student center, that type of environment. But then they have district pods, and what we're really hoping for is a district pod. And those typically happen, all the ones in New Hampshire are happening at schools. So it's just another classroom, and it's structured differently. So each of the kids, it's K, 1, and 2, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's groups of children in different grades working together. But typically they happen in the district if there's space, and if not, it's all about trying to find that extra space.
Okay, well, there's another question. Obviously, we have a lot of work to do, so we don't want to get too deep into the question and answers, but Brody?
Yeah, I just want to, so this would replace kind of the traditional classroom learning. It wouldn't be supplemental to classroom learning, it would replace that.
Yes. Yeah, and then it would be a Prenda guide in each classroom, kind of leading the students and what they want to do. But and then again, it is a lot smaller, so it's only 5 to 10 students, so the classroom's a lot smaller.
And just information for you, have you heard of the YES exclamation point grants that they offer at the Department of Education?
No, I haven't.
They're $1,000 grants, $1,000 per student offered to parents for tutoring. That's supplemental.
That would be fantastic.
So
yeah.
I would definitely suggest, reaching out to the Department of Education. I'm pretty sure they have it right on their website. You and other parents too, to help your students if you feel as if they're behind, to utilize that resource so you can pay for tutoring. I think that's a huge thing that the state's been trying to do to help support school districts find tutors and everything to address some of the problems that you've raised too. But I definitely think this is an interesting approach that we should explore.
Awesome, thank you. I really appreciate that information. I'll have to look
There's
into it.
also a Rekindling Curiosity grant that you can apply for if your child has special education needs. You can get up to $1,000 reimbursement for a summer camp if you go onto the DOE website. So you could check that out too for summer learning opportunities.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the information.
Okay, anything else?
Yeah, so we wanted to bring up just what we feel to be a lack of security, to be completely honest, with a lot of the elementary schools, not so much Kingswood, the high school itself. And I just want to say that we're grateful to you guys for all the hard work, long hours you guys have been putting in the last few years. It's been challenging few years all around. In the wake of the recent school shooting in Uvalde, Texas, my family and I have begun asking some hard questions about school security in the Governor Wentworth Regional School District. We have 2 children at Ossipee Central School and have been made aware that there is an armed school resource officer on the high school and middle school campus, but there are no SROs at the elementary schools. In the last few years, changes have been made at Ossipee Central School to create greater security for our children. Andrea Fournier has taken steps to increase security, such as moving parents and caregivers outside of the school for pickup and drop-off, where in the past all the adults gathered in the lobby. The staff participate in training and practice drills with their students and have radio communication with the office throughout the day. These are all low-budget and effective ways to protect our children and the staff at our elementary schools. But we feel the time has come for a more assertive form of protection. In 2022 alone, there have been 27 school shootings in the United States. These shootings aren't just happening in cities, many are occurring in rural communities. There's little we can do in the immediate future to deal with the root causes of school shootings. The fastest and most effective way we feel to deter a school shooter is to always have an armed, trained professional on the school campus, someone who is there to intercept any immediate threat coming into the property of the school. A study in one southeastern U.S. school district compared 13 high and middle schools with and 15 schools without school resource officers. Data was collected over the 3-year period from 2003 to 04 to 2005 to 06. And the presence of an SRO led to a 52.3% decrease in the arrest rate for assaults. There was also a 72.9% decrease in arrests involving possession of a weapon on school property. This comes from the New York State School Board Association. School resource officers earn on average $49,000 to $50,000 per year, according to a ZipRecruiter. New York State School Board Association, this comes from an independent, this comes from research from them. According to U.S. News, Governor Wentworth Regional School District has an annual revenue of $52,731,000. There are 6 elementary schools in the Governor Wentworth Regional School District, 7 if you count Middleton. If we were to employ SROs at each school with an average salary of $50,000 per year, the cost incurred would be between $300,000 and $350,000 in salaries. That cost is significant, but it's substantially less than it would be to retrofit each of the schools with central air to negate the need for opening windows and bulletproof first floor windows and doors. When we put those numbers into percentages, $350,000 is only 0.67% of the school district's budget. We are asking the school board and community members to take action and employ armed guards at all the schools in Governor Wentworth Regional School District. Our children are our most valuable asset, and it's time to ensure their safety. And we would like to ask that this be considered. Obviously, it's an incredibly large sum of money, and we know in the past SROs have been in the elementary schools, and we're just kind of trying to figure out what's happened that there are none now. We know there's at least one here, but she's not here from beginning of day to end of day. I know she travels around. So we're just trying to wrap our brains around how we can have these buildings, Ossipee Central specifically, I drove by twice today, every window wide open with fans in them. Nobody out front. I mean, I understand we have locked doors, and we have a locked door policy, we have emergency team meetings, and Andrea and I'm sure all the other principals are in contact with the local PD. But we're just trying to understand what the mindset is, and if there is a mindset to increase the security measures that are in place now. So it's a question as to is there a mindset to increase this, or is everybody just good with it where it's at? Because we don't feel, based on what we're seeing, that our school buildings are safe. So they
Well, I don't think there's a mindset to do nothing.
Yeah.
Certainly after everything that's happened out there, we certainly want to keep all of our schools as safe as possible. Could you provide me a copy of your note there?
Yep.
I just like to.
We emailed it to the superintendent's secretary, so.
Okay, if she's got it, then she can certainly send it over to us. Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll certainly consider both suggestions and let you know where we're going to move with them.
Great.
Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I can share there's an opportunity also through the Department of Education for a community awareness briefing. It's targeted to 4 different audiences, so administrators, teachers, students, and parents and community members. And it's meant to help folks identify potential changes in behavior that might precede an act of targeted violence. And so that information and registration can be found through the Office of Social Emotional Wellness, and anybody can register for that. It's happening this August, and it's online. It's an hour and a half of your time. It's being offered with the Department of Homeland Security, and that might be something that you're interested in participating in as well.
Yeah, we've done a lot of research and watched a lot of training programs and things like that about all of that, because we are very concerned. And I think our biggest concern are those wild cards where we're not in connection with the person that it happened, that does it, or that perpetrates that horrible act. And we just want to be careful that it's, our kids are kids. I know you guys all probably have children. It's heartbreaking what's happening, and we just want to make sure our kids are safe.
Thank you so much. Okay. Kathy, you want to move on to the 2 that you added to the agenda?
The Amicus Brief, and as you recall, you decided to sign on to the case regarding students who have been turned out at the age of 21 that don't necessarily have any resources or place to live because they've been told there's no funding for them. We have signed on, but most districts have given a financial contribution, so they contacted, the law firm contacted me with much appreciation, but just asked if we were willing to contribute anything financially. I think this one district that contributed $10,000, there's another district that contributed, I think probably the average is $1,000, but it's not required, but I thought I would ask since it is something that will benefit children and it will benefit school districts as well, so.
Just to be clear, how recently did we sign on this particular amicus brief?
2 meetings ago, maybe?
Okay, thank you.
Do you know the ones?
I believe so.
Okay, any discussion on this at this point? We can certainly bring this up, at another time to see whether we want to contribute or not. Dana, do you have something you want to say? Oh, okay. Brody?
I just think at this time, I don't think it makes a lot of sense to be funding the legal challenge. I think that we should refrain. I think signing on was symbolic and it was important, but I think funding it, I don't think it's the right thing to do at this point. That's just my opinion.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments at this point?
I think I just recall that when we did sign on, it was because there was no financial attachment.
Right. When we first signed on, we weren't required to do any, and we're still not required to do a financial commitment. They're just asking if, appreciate the fact that we signed on, but, could we help support the financial costs? But, I tend to agree with Brody at this point that I'd rather not make that commitment at this point. Again, that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I,
And we don't really need a motion. I think just a sense of the board if
yeah.
we're going to.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
I don't recall us getting any sort of detail in terms of the financial burden that they were experiencing.
Well, it's going to be probably a pretty lengthy lawsuit, so I would imagine it's probably going to be, over $100,000 at least. A lot of the work will be pro bono work. The special education attorney that has worked for us for years is probably going to be at the forefront of that. And I know he will do pro bono work because he always does.
Go ahead, Shirley.
How is this being funded? Just by volunteer amounts from the various school districts?
Yeah, I think like Kathy said, some of the attorneys are doing it pro bono, so they're not charging, but there are obviously some court costs and all that'll go along with it. So some districts have contributed, but not required. Okay. And the last one.
Yes. 603 Bright Futures. I just wanted to let folks know that survey that we asked for the community to participate in, the results are in, and they should be public very soon if they're not already. The areas where we did actually very well. I mean, obviously I'd like to see us at 100%, and there's plenty of room for growth there for us, but in every category except for one, we exceeded the state significantly. From barriers to engagement, in other words, our percentage was very high on that one. There are not very many barriers as far as perceived by the public. School climate was probably our greatest strength, and we exceeded the state by quite a lot there. Teaching and learning conditions, same thing. Social, emotional, and well-being also exceeded the state. And in each of these areas, we improved over the prior year. So that's also another good thing, another thing to be proud of. Community engagement, school safety, and family engagement, all improvements and all greater than the state average. So you can go online and find that. It's 603 Bright Futures.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. Okay, the only thing just before we go into my report, which I don't really have one, the New Hampshire School Board Association, they're actually meeting tonight, so I couldn't be there, obviously. But there is the call for resolutions. Our meeting is going to be October 1st this year, which is a Saturday, I believe. And so this is the call to resolutions time. If there's anything that the board would like the School Board Association to consider, please let me know, and there's a form to fill out and send it to the School Board Association. Okay. Anything else? Okay. I have no other report tonight, so we'll move on to committee reports, academic affairs. Yep.
Well, this evening we were joined by our IT director, Paul Mikulski, as well as Katie Hills, and you have in your packet for first read a new policy, correct? Yes. It's a brand new policy, EGA-E, and it's entitled Employee Volunteer Computer Network Acceptable Use Agreement. And Paul put this together using various sources at his disposal, and we are in the process of making a few changes to it. Not a huge amount, but we're going to incorporate some language that references back to EGA as well as our student policy, so that we'll make sure that for example, references to FERPA and whatnot are carried throughout the various policies that we're looking at. That's.
Excuse me, Shirley, are we supposed to have this on our packet?
Oh, I thought you did.
No, it's not in the packet.
Oh, well then, never mind, it's not in their packet. So we did have it written down for first read for adoption, so I guess you're not going to be reading it until you get it.
I was gonna say, it was on the site.
Yeah, it was on the website, you just don't have paper copies, so it was on our Governor Wentworth site for tonight's meeting.
We'll send out new drafts with the changes of the committee.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, probably.
Does it have to be listed first read on the agenda to be considered? Or can we make the recommendation as a first read?
I would think it has to be listed as a policy on the agenda for first read. We can certainly review it on the website when it's back up on our portal, but I think we have to have first read on our next meeting.
You're right, so that'll be in August, correct? Okay, so first reading will be in August after it's appeared on the agenda, and we also took a look at policy JGA-R, the Governor Wentworth Regional School District Acceptable Use Policy for Internet Network and Computers. And this is more geared towards our students. And again, that's going to be first read at our next meeting in August. And let's see. Oh, and Katie Hills gave us a quick update regarding our assessment and math update. She's going to give a presentation at either our August or September board meeting with a full update. But we did learn tonight that we're in the process of completing all of our testing, and that we've discovered, based on feedback from our teachers, that our math coaches have been incredibly beneficial. We've had a very positive response from our teachers regarding our new math coaches. And in K through 7, we're going to be piloting a program called Eureka Math Squared, and I'm sure we'll hear more about it at our August or September meeting from Katie. And that's all I have, unless any of my committee members want to add anything? No? Okay.
Tim is up next.
All right, building and maintenance. We had a meeting on June 1st at the SAU office. So just a quick summary of what we accomplished at the meeting. Administration had met with Friends of Pop Whalen to discuss the MOU for the potential locker rooms. So more information will be coming forth regarding that and how potentially, if the board decides to move forward with possibly funding, some additional information will be coming in. Carpenter Elementary PTO is currently fundraising for a new playground, and not sure if it made its way to the packet or not, but they gave us a copy of the plan of what they're looking to build, and basically we as the board need to just approve the concept and structural design. So after we reviewed at our meeting, we didn't see anything that jumped out at us. Obviously, our maintenance department for the district would be on top of the project through the whole thing. But it would be removing the old playground and building a brand new one. So I apologize if it's not actually in your packet tonight, but we have reviewed it, and I think so that we're not holding them up, because they are moving forward with this fundraising. that I would make the recommendation that at least the full board does recognize that they're doing it and support the actual structure in its
I
concept.
think what we need is just the recommendation from the building and grounds, building and maintenance department that we do that, and then I'd ask for a motion to approve the plans that have proposed. And then
Okay.
Carpenter.
Tim, you're going to move the recommendation?
Yes. Yep.
So recommendation to approve the playground plans under review for Department of Schools.
And we'll certainly make sure those get out to you folks.
I'll second for discussion. I just want a clarification on the motion.
Okay.
So we're voting to approve, you said, what's the exact motion? Can you repeat the motion?
It's really a motion to approve the plans presented to the Building and Maintenance Department for the new playground at Carpenter.
It's the structural design that they gave us in the concept of removing the old one and putting a new one in. That's what we'd be approving.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded, and then a follow-up before we take a vote on that. I'm going to be meeting with the fundraising group next Tuesday, tomorrow, to discuss the fundraising process and how that's going to work moving forward. Again, once this playground is built, it becomes part of the school district property, because it's our liability and all that. So I'll be discussing all of that with the fundraising people next week, how the process works. Okay, thank you. Okay, I know Stephanie just had to leave, so we'll take a vote, and we'll put her in abstention at the moment. Brody?
Aye.
Tim?
Yes.
Wendy?
Yes.
Dr. Jim?
Yes.
Jim Pittman?
Yes.
Charlene?
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
Chair votes aye, and I'll write in Stephanie's vote when she comes back.
Great. And I'll just continue on.
Yep.
As far as that, the funding for that playground, at this point, it is 100% being done through fundraising, no district funds,
Correct.
other than through our staff overseeing the project.
Correct.
We also were made aware that the fence at Carpenter was in need of repair. So we've got to do a little bit of background work before we can actually move forward with that. So more information to come there. We also discussed putting in, if you look out front of the building here, if you're looking at the high school, it would be to the left-hand side. There's just a big grassy area. In order to kind of spruce it up a bit, we had discussed possibly adding some sort of garden. So that would include some shrubs, trees, and flowers and things like that. And Kathy, I'm not sure if we need a motion to move forward
I think
because of the funding.
I think it would be good to have a motion. As we've discussed, probably up to $20,000 would be, I hope that would be adequate to make that area look nice. I'm sure the community will really appreciate having something that looks a little better than what's there now.
So to move forward with the garden out front, I would make a motion that we approve up to, not to exceed 20,000 to create the garden to the left of the entrance to the high school.
I'll second the motion for discussion.
Okay, moved and seconded. Brody?
I just want, is it, well, did you have a question?
I wanted to hear
Well,
the
okay, I'm
discussion.
sorry, well, I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah.
No, I just, is it coming out of this fiscal, because was this, I mean, was this a budgeted item?
If
like
it
for-
wasn't a budgeted item, it would be any, if we have funds left over.
And that's, sorry, I didn't have that, but that would be why up to the 20.
Yeah, the up to.
Because obviously if we only have 1,000, then that's
Well,
what it'd be.
Yeah.
Charlie.
I'm wondering if, well, I would like to see us maybe get our agriculture, horticulture students involved, and when it comes to selecting what we're going to plant there, be mindful of the fact that there are quite a few flowering shrubs and various perennials and whatnot that are excellent pollinator supporting plants, and I think that it could be a really good educational opportunity for some of our students in the Technology Center to research, how to create a garden that has enough biodiversity that during the blooming season it's always in bloom with various perennials and whatnot and flowering shrubs, so that they'll be beneficial to bees and butterflies and hummingbirds and all those other things that we need so that we can survive on this planet.
Do we want to add a little bit of that to your motion that spend up to $20,000 and include the vocational ag program as much as possible in design?
Sounds great.
Did you get that? Any other questions? Yes, Jim.
If we had the funds for that, are they intended to come out of this budget period?
I'll just say I'll re-second the motion as it was changed.
Okay. Okay, moved by Tim, seconded by Brody, revised motion. All those in favor, Brody?
Aye.
Tim?
Yes.
Wendy?
Yes.
Stephanie?
She's still.
Still out? Okay. Dr. Jim?
Yes.
Jim Pippin?
Yes.
Charlie?
Aye.
Dana?
Yes.
And Jim, what's I as well?
And there were a couple other just housekeeping things that we had discussed, sidewalks, summer projects, also keeping the solar projects or potential solar projects in our thoughts, so that that may be coming down the pike as well. But that's basically it. It was a very productive meeting. That was it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I do not have anything under human resources this meeting or finance, so we'll go to advanced planning.
Feedback that it's hard to hear you without a microphone.
Okay. Okay, I was saying I don't have anything right now under human resources and finance, so we'll go to our advanced planning. You can see down below, today we did have our reception for the retirees at 4 o'clock. We had retirees that totaled 750 years of service to education, which was really unbelievable. And the school board meeting tonight. Effingham Spring Concert is tomorrow, Wednesday rather, the 8th. So is Crescent Lakes Band and Chorus Concert. On the 9th, which is Thursday night, the Lakeside Academy graduation will be held. First with the dinner at the Vocational Center, Skylight Dining Room, and then the graduation at the Art Center. On the 10th, Friday evening, graduation will be at 6 o'clock. The weather looks like it's going to be terrific, so hopefully it will stay that way for the rest of the week. On the 13th is Tuftonboro New Durham Spring Concert. On the 20th is the Effingham Elementary School 6th grade promotion, and Jim Pittman is going to speak at that promotion, which is very nice. And also on the same night, the 20th, is Tuftonboro Central 6th grade promotion. And the 21st, early release day, last day of school.
It's also New Durham 6th grade promotion that same night too.
Oh, okay, we missed that one, thank you. Okay, public input. Anyone like to speak? Okay, do you want a mic or you want to just shout?
I got a big mouth.
Okay, go for it.
My name is Ruth Clefton from Tuftonboro. First of all, I'd like to thank Kathy for her service. On behalf of both me and Quentin, congratulations on your retirement. And I do have a concern following up with this gentleman here about school safety. Is it correct to assume that in light of everything that happened in Texas, that the school board has not had a special meeting on how we can keep our kids safe, you know, to institute some safety protocols? I've gone to the Homeland Security myself and read what they have. It's very brief. I didn't get much from it actually, and I think that every school needs to have an individualized plan, especially for the younger kids. I'm actually appalled to hear that there's only one security guard for the entire school system. Like, if we hadn't had what happened in Texas, I wouldn't even have considered investigating what we have for safety protocols for the kids with active shooters. It's getting a lot crazier out there. And I would, not to be insulting, but in light of what happened, you should have had an emergency meeting to discuss how we're going to keep our kids safe. It shouldn't be something that you consider today. It should have been considered 2 weeks ago. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public input? Yes.
I have a quick question about the building and grounds, because I am the abutter that requested the fence be fixed because it's all going which way, and just wondering what you're looking into, because the state law is very clear on who is responsible for the fence, and it is just supposed to be split 50-50 between the two property owners, and that would be Governor Wentworth Regional School District and myself. So I'm just curious, what are we waiting for? Because I have an excavator there right now, and I'm trying to get my yard work done. And your fence is on my property, and it's broken, and what can we do about it, and how long should I expect to wait?
Yeah, when we had the meeting, we weren't clear on who the actual owner was. So that was one item that the SAU staff was going to reach out to the town, to you, to try and figure out exactly who.
This is already set in statute about who owns fences. This is set in New Hampshire law already. Any fence that is between two properties is owned duly by the property owners, and both property owners are responsible for it. So, even though you may have erected the fence, not you yourself, but Governor Wentworth Regional School District, I am responsible for helping to repair that fence.
That's good.
So, philosophically, that's nice too. But I would like to get going on that because it is bad, and it's been bad for 2 years, and it's just getting worse and worse. So, and it's really an eyesore, and I'm happy to help with it, but what do you need me to do? Do you need me to get the quotes? Like, can I help you do that? I'm on it. Like, just tell me what to do.
Kathy, I see her taking notes over there, but I'm sure.
The other Kathy. We have 3 Kathys at the table. So.
No, I know that our maintenance staff was contacting the town hall because we need to see in writing who the two parties, who the parties are responsible. And unfortunately, the town manager was out on vacation, and therefore we weren't able to get the information we needed. But I'm certain, you know, quotes, absolutely. I mean, obviously, it doesn't take knowing who the two people are that own it.
Yeah, the whole thing doesn't have to be replaced. I mean, a lot of it's just covered in bittersweet and being choked out, but that's fine. But there's like 3 sections that need to be replaced. And whether you go with chain link or whatever, you're probably going to go with the same materials. It shouldn't be that much money. It should be pretty small and pretty easy to repair, but it just needs to get done. So I can't touch it without your approval, and I won't.
And like I said, we have to do our due diligence. You're saying you know that it's 50-50, but we don't know that. We need the legal documentation to say that, that's all.
Well, I sent the message on May 12th, and it's now 1 month later, so I don't think he was on vacation for 1 month, so do I need to walk over there and talk to him? Because I live right next door. I can do it.
That's up to you.
Okay, we'll put this you know.
Can we like set a time frame of like, let's have this done in 30 days? Because I like, can we have a decision made in 30 days where I can talk to the town, get the quotes, and present it to you via email?
Why don't you, let's work with Kathy and our building and grounds, and we'll make that happen. Okay? Okay, anything else? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to go into non-public under RSA 91A:3, paragraph 2 for personnel and legal matters.
Can I just, in response, so Kathy, you sent out a wonderful letter to all the parents about what is happening, and all of the schools have safety plans in place, and they are individualized for each school, but I don't know if that letter could be put on the website, or if it could be made public in some way.
It is on the website, Stephanie, but that doesn't mean that people that don't have children in the schools would necessarily have gone to the website to see that, but it is true that each building has a plan. The plan was developed with Homeland Security. Our police and fire departments have a copy of all of our building plans. We have procedures in each of our buildings. That being said, you know, it's a constant reminder and due diligence to make sure that we've got everything in place to keep our kids safe. But we certainly have been very attentive to that, from our entryways to our plans to our communication with our first responders and police and fire departments.
Can I ask just one quick question? Are there drills for active shooters in these schools or not?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
I was just curious.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I got a question too. I was here when in 2007 and 8, somewhere in there, when there was the bomb in the bathroom. Never really was. And they stuck all of us in the gymnasium, and the whole entire school, they stuck us in the gymnasium, and then about 45 minutes later they realized that was a bad idea and brought us out to the fields. And I was just curious, when was this Homeland Security plan that you guys came up with, how recent was it gone over, and is it new, is it the past 5 years or 3?
It was done, I can't give you the exact year that we first started doing it, but it's been reviewed every year since. And we get periodic updates from Homeland Security so we can compare what Homeland Security is saying is best practice and what's in our plan, and that happens annually.
Oh, okay. Because I know that, I'm sure everyone realized when they said that there was a bomb in the bathroom, and the men's bathroom, no one knew which one. And at the time, the gymnasium was right next to there's men's bathroom on different sides of the school, so no one knew. I think at that point they were like, we need to get everyone out. And it probably should have happened that way.
To bring you a little comfort, we do have off-site evacuation plans.
Good.
All right, one more thing, and then we're going to go.
So in the Uvalde one, I don't know if it was so much the school issue as it took them 1 hour and 10 minutes to actually enter. So I think we should be just as concerned with whatever the policy of the local police departments are, even more so than yours. And it's got to be an effort where the families need to know what the school board is doing and how the local authorities are going to respond to it. Because we can't go for 1 hour and 10 minutes, whatever the heck that was all about. So I think parents have a right to know what the collective plan is with everyone involved. And that's not to be nasty and grumpy like I usually am, but I mean, we love our kids, you know?
If you call the school district, the principal, if you're a parent there anyway, they'll go over the plan. We've also called the police department, they go over the plan with you. They don't obviously advertise that for obvious reasons, but they'll go over what they can with you.
Yeah.
It's not much.
I don't know if that's enough, really. Not today. It was enough maybe a couple years ago.
Okay, we're ready to go into non-public. Oh, I'm sorry, closing comments, all right.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say just a few things. One is the state does supply, and the school district has taken advantage of, we have a $30 million fund for school safety grants, and I think it's worth us making sure that everyone's on the same page regarding police law enforcement presence around the schools and how fast they can get to the schools, because that's something I've heard tonight. I think also the other thing, just to clarify to the abutter to Carpenter School regarding trying to figure out whose property is on who, it's more so that we don't have you paying for a fence that's completely ours, that's our responsibility, or vice versa. We want to make sure that the person paying for it, if it has to be shared, it is. If it shouldn't be shared and it's us, then we should bear that burden if it's our fence falling apart. And so hopefully we can work with the town manager and really figure out exactly whose fence it is. So then, we're either following the state law, making sure we're sharing the cost, or the person whose fence is property it's on is paying for those costs. So that's all I wanted to say. I felt like with everyone answering, it wasn't 100% clear why we're going to the town hall to figure out, whose property the fence is on.
We'll let Kathy and all handle it. Charlene.
Jack, Mary Ann Murray from Wolfeboro Community Television. First question, when you go into non-public session, the camera goes off, and will you return from the non-public session? And I'll leave the camera here and come back?
We come back in to adjourn our meeting.
Okay.
So we go out for non-public, and then we come back in.
And then you'll come back, you're going out for non-public, and then you'll come back?
Yeah, well, generally, because we're here, we'll probably stay here, so we'll ask everyone else to leave. We'll do a non-public here, and then we'll come out and get you to,
okay.
And anybody else that wants to be here.
That was my first question. All right. My second question, I'm sorry the lady left, but I was a teacher for 34 years, and when we had safety drills, they were very important to me. One of the things that bothers me, and it's happened only once, but I'm hoping the teachers are really alert to it, that they keep saying that it's one point of entry, and this school has one point of entry, but several doors. I walked up to the door one day, and this nice young gentleman opened the door and said, "Okay, there you go." And I said, "Excuse me, do you know me?" And he said, "No." I said, "Well, why did you open that door?" I said, "You shouldn't have ever opened that door if you don't know the person, and even if you know them, you should direct them around. Just say, you go around, I can't open it." And I hope, Kathy, that the teachers are really focusing on that, because that is such a key piece to this, how open our schools are. And kids, being kids, are just going to open it. So I hope teachers are drilling them constantly. Don't let anyone in. It's just a very frightening thing. And I had a parent come in one day when I was teaching, and the parent was irate with me because I wouldn't release his child to him. I said, "I can't release his child. You have to go to the office, and I have to hold that child here." He could not understand that. So I think maybe something should be sent out to parents, and the parents should drill the kids. Don't ever let anyone into that building, because that's what's going to keep them safe. So I just hope that we can maybe push that and push that hard. All right? Thank you. All right? We're going into non-public?
No, not just yet.
Okay.
Not quite yet. I just wanted to comment on the fact that this is our superintendent's last board meeting, and I don't want to make anybody cry because we already had some of that at the retirement reception, but I just wanted to personally thank Kathy Cuddy-Egbert for all of her years of service to this district, her previous years of service in the education field, and tell her that I'm really sorry to see her go, and especially the last couple of years when she has never failed to exhibit grace under pressure and rise to the challenges that faced our entire district. And I just want to wish you the best and thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah, Jessica, I was just wondering, do you know how that fence was destroyed?
Dana, let's get off the fence for now. The building and grounds are gonna handle this, Kathy's gonna handle it. I don't wanna get more into that, we can talk about the fence for all night long, but it's not, but we're gonna take care of it.
It sounds
okay?
like,
All right. We're gonna
sounds
take
like
care
it
of
might
it.
have been
What's that?
an insurance claim, though. That's what I'm wondering.
Well, we'll get all the information handled and we'll get the fence fixed.
Come on over and look at the bittersweet, that's like.
I did.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's very dangerous because if any student
Okay.
climbed up the,
All right, well, let's get off the fence.
I don't think the board realizes how dangerous it
Okay,
is.
Stephanie, you have anything else to say?
Just congratulations to the class of 2020, to Kathy's retirement, all our retirees.
Yes, it was a great retirement reception for everyone. Thank you. Now I will entertain a motion to go into non-public under RSA 91A:3, paragraph 2.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Dr. Jim, seconded by Tim.
Yes, I'll see you on stage.
All right. Tim,
Yes.
Wendy, Stephanie,
Yep.
Dr. Jim, Jim Pittman, Charlene, Dana, and chair votes aye. We are now in non-public.
Okay, it's been moved by Charlene, seconded by Jim Pittman. All those in favor of adjourning? Brody? Tim?
Aye.
Wendy?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Dr. Jim? Yes. Jim Pittman? Yes. Charlene?
Aye.
Dana?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.